think so. She was in there getting into the cold tub, so she keeps saying I'll be fine, so I trust her.
What's going on, my Flyby family? It's your boy Izzy. Welcome if you're new. Sophie Cunningham's injury scared everybody half to death, man.
Stephanie White, Indiana's ever-reliable coach who could likely win a game blindfolded, just gave an injury update on Sophie Cunningham, and it's far from your typical she's good to go report. We're talking twists, surprises, and maybe even a dash of drama. The kind of update that makes you do a double take and go, wait, what? Trust me, this injury story is about to get a whole lot more intriguing.
So Sophie Cunningham went down with what did not look like the greatest injury. She went down, rolled her ankle after landing on Ryan Howard's leg, which is not an ideal situation.
Stephanie White just dropped a bombshell about Sophie Cunningham's injury. And let me tell you, this isn't your typical tear-filled, heart-wrenching update. No, no, no. If you were expecting a tragic story of Sophie moping on the bench with a box of tissues, think again. Grab your popcorn, because what's coming is far more thrilling. Sophie Cunningham isn't the type to sit back and let an injury define her.
This game, number one. The starters for Indiana were okay, right? We ended up seeing a change in the starting lineup. We saw Sophie Cunningham get the starting nod. However, Sophie Cunningham had to go out of the game. I forgot what half that was, if that was in the first half or the second half. But Sophie Cunningham was coming down. She was in the air, coming down. She ended up rolling her ankle on Ryan Howard's foot. She went out of the game, was on the bench for a little while, and I believe she went to the locker room, but she did not return back to this game.
You see, Sophie Cunningham is a different breed. She's not just a player, she's a warrior. Injuries don't scare her. They motivate her. She's not the kind of athlete who waits around for the injury fairy to sprinkle some magic dust and make things better. No, she's the one who says, all right, you've thrown a challenge my way. Now watch me crush it. When news of her injury first broke, the usual questions surfaced. Would this be the end of her season? Would she take the safe route and sit it out to recover?
I didn't know. Yes, Sophie Cunningham got injured. Okay, she got injured. She landed on her ankle the wrong way. Let's go ahead and look through the play right now. All right. So here she is here, coming for the rebound, boom, and lands on Ryan Howard's foot the wrong way, and she was holding it.
But if you followed Cunningham's career, you already know the answer, long before the question's even asked. Sophie isn't the type to wait around for permission to return to the game. She charges back into the action like the injury never happened, leaving a trail of defeated opponents behind her. In fact, this injury update isn't about her sitting on the sidelines at all. It's about her comeback, fueled by an intensity that makes it clear you're watching a game changer in real time.
This game, number one. The starters for Indiana were okay, right? We ended up seeing a change in the starting lineup. We saw Sophie Cunningham get the starting nod. However, Sophie Cunningham had to go out of the game. I forgot what half that was, if that was in the first half or the second half. But Sophie Cunningham was coming down. She was in the air, coming down. She ended up rolling her ankle on Ryan Howard's foot. She went out of the game, was on the bench for a little while, and I believe she went to the locker room, but she did not return back to this game.
Let's be real. When Sophie Cunningham steps back onto the court, it's not just an athlete returning from injury. It's a force of nature ready to shake the game to its core. Anyone doubting her is in for a rude awakening. She's not just coming back. She's coming back strong. This woman is an absolute warrior. Think superhero vibes, only instead of a cape, she's rocking a sweat-soaked jersey and a look of pure determination. Honestly, she's got the kind of build that looks like it could bench press a car, because why not? Sophie isn't just built like a tank, she plays like one. She's the kind of player who makes you sit up straight, eyes locked on the screen, wondering how anyone can move with that much power and speed. And she's always moving, on defense, offense, or just carving through the chaos of the game. Sophie's relentless like a freight train on a mission. There's no stopping her.
Back to this game. So I hope that Sophie Cunningham is okay. Again, it looks like a rolled ankle, so hopefully it's not too bad. Maybe she's out for a day or so, but we'll see. We'll find out an update from the Indiana Fever. But Sophie Cunningham did go out of the game. due to injury. We all
If you ever needed proof that the Indiana Fever are more than just a basketball team, that they're a full-blown force of nature, look no further than Sophie Cunningham. She's not just a piece of the puzzle, she's the lightning in the eye. Storm. Honestly, the whole team could adopt a new slogan. We're not here to play, we're here to crush. And Sophie would be the first to back it up with a confident, "That's right." It's her attitude that sets her apart. She's got this uncanny ability to blend the ferocity of a lion with the agility of a gazelle, making opponents look like they're chasing a blur. And here's the thing about Sophie. She doesn't flinch when she hits the floor. She doesn't care if she's been knocked down, even hard, as she was in that rough matchup against the Mystics. More on that in a second. It doesn't faze her. You can practically hear her thinking, "Oh, that was fun. Let's do it again." Then she's up like it was nothing, defying gravity as if it's just a polite suggestion. That's Sophie. Relentless, fearless, and absolutely unstoppable.
And that's a positive thing. She was like trying to see if she could get back in the game. Obviously, they're not dumb. They're not going to put her back into a preseason game. But she was trying to get back into the game, which is big. If we're honest, that is genuinely big. But as well as that, we've now heard Stephanie White talking about it. Obviously,
Seriously, Sophie Cunningham is a woman who's probably endured more physical punishment than most of us will face in a lifetime. And yet she plays every game with the heart of a champion and the resilience of a fighter. She's not just out there to win. She's out to prove that you can't break her no matter how many times you knock her down. So yeah, Sophie Cunningham, total beast mode. Now, if you've been living under a rock, Sophie's injury is not your typical, "Oh, she's hurt, and now she'll be out for the season" kind of story. Number one, Sophie Cunningham is not the type to let an injury sideline her from doing what she does best, blowing past defenders, setting up plays, and basically acting like she's auditioning for a Fast and Furious movie. If you thought Sophie would just sit back and let her injury take control, then you clearly don't know Sophie.
Everybody was scared in the live stream, man. I was holding my breath. My face was fixed a certain way that looked crazy. I mean, we were scared in there, okay? Now, the main thing is, yes, she twisted her ankle, okay? And she was out for the rest of the game. But she is okay, all right? It did look like it could have been something worse because of how she landed, and it was like more so of an Achilles looking stretch instead of a twisted sideways foot. So that's what scared, that's what scared me. But nonetheless, man, it came out that it was a twisted ankle and she was okay and she was just going to sit out for the rest of the game.
Stephanie White, the head coach of the Indiana Fever, and let's be real, the true mastermind behind it all, is probably lounging back in her chair right now, sporting that signature satisfied grin of someone who knows they've just hit the jackpot. And the jackpot? Sophie Cunningham. When you've got a player like Sophie on your roster, there's no need to stress about injuries or slipping in the standings. Why? Because Sophie Cunningham doesn't just play the game, she owns it. She's the one diving for loose balls, throwing her body into the chaos of the court, and ensuring every second she's on the floor counts. You can throw any obstacle at her, whether it's a bruising opponent or a scoreboard that's too close for comfort, but Sophie's not fazed. If anything, she thrives in those moments, finding a way to turn the tide, often with a little blood, sweat, and a few bruises that she wears proudly. Let's be honest, Stephanie White knows that when you've got a player like Sophie, you've got everything you need. It's like the old saying goes, pain is temporary, but glory is forever. Sophie's pain is an afterthought. Glory is her focus, and she's making sure it's earned, game after game.
Cunningham started in her place, which was an interesting wrinkle before the game. Cunningham actually stepped on somebody's foot and turned her ankle and had to leave the game, though Stephanie White said afterwards that Cunningham said she'll be fine. So that's the update from Sophie Cunningham, and it was a run-of-the-mill step on the foot ankle injury.
Let's talk about that Mystics game. Oh, you know the one. If you were watching, you're probably still replaying it in your mind like it's some kind of cinematic masterpiece. Sophie didn't just take a hit. This wasn't your average foul, where the player goes down, shakes it off, and moves on like nothing happened. No, this was a moment. It wasn't just a collision. It was as if the universe itself said, let's see how badly we can rattle Sophie today. And the result? Pure gold. Some players might have crumbled under that kind of pressure, sitting on the hardwood, nursing their pride and their body. But not Sophie. Sophie got absolutely flattened, slammed to the ground like a rag doll. And instead of soaking in the crowd's sympathy, she pulled off a move that screamed, "Is that all you've got?" She popped right back up as if auditioning. For the role of the most dangerous person on the court, no hesitation, no doubt, just a look that could probably burn holes through steel. Did you really think you could take me down that easily?
And it's getting ugly already out there. There was a couple of ugly fouls. And the retards, as I like to call them, the RAHTARDSs.
And then came the true magic. Sophie didn't just get up. She transformed into a one-woman wrecking ball. She took that fall and basically said, "Nice try, but I've been to the ground and back." That's the kind of player you want on your team, not someone who crumbles at the first sign of trouble, but someone who stares adversity in the face, smirks, and says, "This is my court." Now let's be real. Sophie isn't just a key player for the Fever. She's their heartbeat, their secret sauce, the entire essence of the team. Without her, the squad would start to resemble a pizza without cheese. Sure, there's structure, maybe even a little flavor, but let's be honest. It's just not the same. Have you ever had a pizza missing the cheese? It's basically just bread with a few toppings scattered around, like a sad, flat piece of dough trying to pretend it's something special, but failing miserably. Sophie is the cheese. She's the gooey, melty goodness that binds it all together, turning a bland situation into something you can't get enough of. She's the layer that makes the whole team rise to the occasion.
Sophie Cunningham, I hope she feels better. I'm gonna call it out. I saw what happened. So
When Sophie's on the floor, it's like watching a master chef in the kitchen. Every movement is calculated, precise, and dare I say, effortlessly brilliant. But take her out of the mix, and all you're left with is a jumble of toppings that don't quite make sense with a crust too tough to even bother chewing. The Fever are undeniably a different team with Sophie. Take her out, and it's like trying to build a house without a foundation. It's shaky, unstable, and won't stand for long. Think the Fever are a legitimate contender without Sophie? You might as well ask a fish to climb a tree. Sure, it could maybe flop its way up, but it's not going to get very far, and even if it somehow did, it wouldn't be doing what it's meant to do. Sophie is what makes the Fever tick. Without her, they lose their rhythm, their flow, their edge.
They are already now attacking Sophie Cunningham. Oh, they're mad. The MAGA Barbies got them angry. They're cheering on violence against this basketball player. Sophie Cunningham just got through by a rookie.
To put it simply, Sophie is the unsung hero who makes everything look easy. But without her, the Fever are just another team trying to find their way in a sea of mediocrity. Sophie is the game changer, the player who elevates them from good enough to, we're about to wreck this league. If you take her out, you're not just losing a player. You're losing the heart and soul of the team. But of course, no one knows this better than Sophie herself. She's not just showing up to play, she's showing up to dominate, every game, without fail. She's out there, ready to take on the world and laugh in its face. When the opposition looks her way, they don't see someone they can easily outmuscle. They see someone practically daring them to come at her. Sophie isn't just playing the game, she's playing with a confidence so fierce it makes her opponents question their very...
Being back in the Midwest now, you got a little taste of winter in the middle of March and April. That's always fun.
Heck yeah, after practice yesterday, they had scalloped potatoes and meatloaf, and I was like, I am back in the Midwest, and I love it. So I'm all here. I'm for it.
She knows one thing for sure. She's not just going to survive this game. She's going to thrive in it. This is the kind of energy the Fever need in their corner. They don't need players who tiptoe around potential injuries or hesitate before diving for the ball. They need warriors. Players who thrive in the chaos, who roll with the punches, and who come back stronger every time. Sophie embodies this fearless attitude, always charging forward, never backing down. If a tackle knocks her down, it's just a brief pit stop before she's right back at it, doing what she does best, dominating the court. When faced with the chance of injury, Sophie doesn't even flinch. She just smirks and says, "You think that's going to stop me? Please, I'm just getting started." And that's exactly the mentality the Fever need to carry them all the way.